So let's go back to the previous topic of drugs because.
Oh, right, drugs. Yeah.
Okay, so one of my other questions is, do you think there's a difference between pharmaceutical drugs and recreational drugs?
Doesn't have to be.
Mm, no.
In the base, like I mean, if you're gonna do like example heroin, I mean it's an opiate, right? So it's the same, maybe not the same, but it's very similar to a
It's
recreational drug.
It's tickling the exact same receptors.
That's it, exactly. So depending on the type of drugs you take, there are other, and I mean, let's look at even like mushrooms that we were talking about before. Technically, that's a recreational drug, but back in the 60s or even 50s, 60s, it was tested for, a lot of like depression, PTSD issues. Then it was halted for a bit. Now lately it's been starting up again. So it depends. Like the way I see it is a lot of pharmaceutical drugs, like when you're looking at Dilaudid, Oxy, and stuff, are so harmful because also it depends though. In the States, it's overly prescribed. Here, I find it's a little bit more controlled. But you have so many people that could get their hands like this on very addictive and dangerous drugs legally. And then, like if let's say if you're comparing something to like recreational stuff like mushrooms or acid, that could be helpful. Like I said, they give you epiphanies and they make you see and they're not addictive. That's known to be not addictive. Is what's better? Like I don't know, it's weird. So some recreational drugs could be better for you in the long run, and others that are considered pharmaceutical could be worse. It really depends what you're talking about, I find.
Okay.
And if you abuse it or not, like I don't find cocaine could be a bad thing if you don't abuse it. Same with alcohol.
Okay, well, do you think
I think the reason you're taking it is key. I think in the question that you're asking is like, if the reason you're taking whatever it is, a painkiller, is because you literally have pain that you can't manage and focus on anything otherwise, then I don't think it's the same thing. If you're taking it to feel happy, then it kind of is recreational.
But a lot of people do end up taking it for a specific reason, and then especially if we're talking about pharmaceutical drugs, it does become because you need it for pain, and then eventually it does become recreational because you just like it too much, or whatever the reason is, right? I mean, and then it's been proven that a lot of people that abuse drugs, there could be psychological reasons behind it, whether it's trauma or abuse or emotions you can't handle, mental disease also. So it's
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Would you say there's a difference between drugs and alcohol, or would you put them just flat out in the same category?
I put them in the same category, and even alcohol. Alcohol, I find, is something that's been socially accepted for so long, but there is such a big issue in alcohol. And yes, I do drink, right? But look at how many people have alcohol addictions, and people have normalized alcohol so much that people almost don't see it as a drug or a problem, but there is a problem with alcohol. People were so against legalizing marijuana when in the end, when you smoke it, it's bad for you. It's bad. Anything you smoke, you inhale any type of smoke, it's bad for your lungs, right? But let's say you're going to ingest it, it's good for you. But I never understood why people were so against marijuana when alcohol has such negative effects. It's addictive. It could make you violent. It makes you do things you wouldn't normally do. What the hell happens? It's
all right. Well, okay.
I
Daniel?
think one of the differences generally is like you tend to be sketchier about things that you could abuse very easily, right? Things that you don't have a very good sense of how much you're having. So you could have an edible that has way too much stuff in it and not realize it. You're not gonna die, but and alcohol, I think the assumption is that people at least realize how much they're having. Now it's probably not true for a bunch of people who
I honestly don't think people, sorry to interrupt, I don't think people realize it. Like I said, it's so socially accepted and it's so normalized that it could become a problem, and you don't even know it's a problem until it's too late.
Daniel, you were going to say something before
Oh, well, I think I view it pretty similarly. It's just like, it is a drug, clearly. I think the only difference you could even draw is that it's technically one of the 4 macronutrients, which is an unnecessary one. But it's definitely a drug. But unlike every other drug, it's different, but it's the same in terms of what it can do to us, I guess.
Okay. So
But that's
you
what I
kind of
find. It's
touched.
only different because it's so socially accepted and it's been normalized for so many years.
Well, that was one of my other questions because I was going to say, like, do you think socially, between, let's just compare weed and alcohol, do you think the response from people's reaction is reasonable when it comes to weed versus alcohol?
I don't find. I don't understand. Some people are like, yeah, well, how are you smoking a joint in the, like, not next to a child? I understand, want to smoke, blows,
We can say in the
weed,
area.
smoke.
Uh-huh.
Let's say, so like in proximity of children. Let's say I'm here, a child's here, and I'm standing over there smoking a joint. Why is it so different or so much more worse than seeing watching me getting drunk?
I think the weed alcohol thing is purely a legality viewpoint. Like people grew up with it being illegal. Now it's legal in way more places. But there's still that thing where it's an illicit illegal drug.
Mm.
So the perception is different. It's not about what it's actually doing to people.
Which let me just say also, it's weird because weed, also marijuana, is being used like oils and CBD. It's being used for so many treatments for good things, So yes, some people, will just smoke it recreationally just to get high. But and if you compare it to alcohol, what does alcohol do for people? It doesn't help make you better or anything. There's absolutely no medicinal, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I know, there's no medicinal value or reason for alcohol. When you compare it to marijuana, you have people and it helps them with cancer treatments, with epilepsy, with memory issues.
You get a confidence boost, and then it leads to sex with strangers. So there's some potential benefit, but
well, sex with strangers when you're is not necessarily a benefit because you don't know if they have herpes.
No. It's just
that will cloud your judgment.
Of course, but then you feel a little better about yourself.
We're talking about alcohol right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I agree. I think, it's probably likely that marijuana or THC, whatever, is more helpful with ailments. I think in a medical setting, alcohol is probably not very useful. Maybe stress relief in small amounts, but yeah.
You can smoke a cigarette for stress relief.
This is your second one. I'm going to keep counting, Angie.
Are you really going to keep count? I don't give a shit if you count.
He's got a real smoking thing.
Write it on your little pad or something. I don't care.
He doesn't even want the Joker to smoke, so.
Jesus Christ, Darnell. Fucking hater.
I am a fucking hater. Okay.
You are a fucking hater.
Okay, so then all these questions are leading into the other questions that I have for you guys. Do you think like on weed and alcohol, do you think it's had a negative effect in society?
What, wait, weed or alcohol or both?
Both of them. Like, which one has had the greatest effect in society that was negative?
Alcohol has more effect. I mean, duh.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe sometimes people have different point of views.
What do you mean you don't know? Don't you read studies?
No, I know, but I don't know about other people and their point of views. So I'm just asking.
Okay. All right.
Okay, point of view, but it's a brute fact. Like, people who have alcohol are just outnumber people who have weed, like very violently. Also, not just like in terms of how many do, but like the amount, right? So it's like just that, right? And yeah, I mean, you hear about people like dying in car accidents for being
drunk
for alcohol.
Day, right?
Yeah, or people
alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or spousal abuse. All these things
often, right,
have been connected to alcoholism and all that.
No one wants to beat their wife after they smoke a joint. Like, you will get drunk. You're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to fight everyone. I'm going to beat my wife. You don't want to fight when you smoke weed. You just want to sit and eat. You don't want to get drunk and
it never stopped me from beating
when you
women.
smoke, you want to sit and eat.
Daniel.
Never stopped me.
There you go. You see Daniel's point of view. It's never stopped him.
I like to light up a joint and smack her around.
Well, that's a Dixie blood. It's the.
Okay,
I don't feel like smacking no one around when I'm high.
So this also leads into now.
I actually can't even stand up most of the time, so that's why I don't do it.
Daniel is the OG like vegetable, He's like bleh.
I get couch locked really quick, so that's why I avoid it usually.
But wait, doesn't it? Well, I'll come back to this, but the sensations. We'll talk about the sensations for the drugs that we've experienced and all that kind of stuff later. But this leads into the next question of why do you think the government made it such a negative thing in society?
Pot?
Yeah.
Well, look at what happened in the 60s in the States with the whole weed, there was
Reagan.
Yeah, look, I didn't look too much into it. I've, you watch documentaries, I've read a bit, and if I haven't taken notes, I have trouble remembering things. But yeah, it was the whole war on drugs thing that happened in the States. It was very, and then then the cocaine came in. Like, anyways, it has something to do with that. Look, and I can't go too much into it because, like I said, I haven't looked into it enough. So that's where I'm going to stop talking about
watching
this.
Porn?
No, sorry. I sent an email. I did reply all instead of sending it to at work. Okay. Cut this one.
No. I might keep it in or put it in the outtakes or the yeah.
God damn it. Well, luckily I'm leaving in 1 week.
Okay, so then do you think the government actually made the whole entire thing with weed like worse for society? Like, do you think them making it illegal and okay?
I think the amount of smoking is the same, doesn't matter. But the point is, it's just becoming shadier and more dangerous to actually get it, and right. So the activity itself has become. Yeah.
The only reason they're able to claim it as a gateway drug is not because of the drug itself. It's because of the way you have to get it.
Yes.
So if you have to go to a drug dealer to get it, that's the only way it's a gateway drug. If it's legal, then there's no gateway about it.
Yeah. Well, up here in Canada, we have these stores, the
SQDCs.
Yeah, exactly what she just said. And you can basically go there and buy weed products and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more prominent here too.
That's it. And for people who are iffy about it, especially if you're looking for a certain strain and a certain effect, you could go and get consultation. And, it's I don't have that much faith in our government, but I mean, at the same time, it is government regulated and stuff. And like, if you're looking for a specific, like if you want to smoke something to target a specific issue, like pain or open up your appetite, then, it's good. You could go in this QDC and they could tell you, okay, this is what it is. And they'll give you what they say they're going to give you, as opposed to going to somebody on the black market in the streets. You don't know what you're really getting. They'll tell you, oh, okay, here's an indica blend of this and is that really what you're getting? You don't know. So at least what's cool about the SQDC, yes, it could be more expensive. Yes, it's government regulated. Not everyone wants to support the government for that in that way. But in the end, is for people who are sketchy about it and don't want to buy anything n'importe quoi, as we say in French, in the streets. Then I think it's a good thing that the SQDCs are here now. There were a lot of people.
Go ahead. Finish. Sorry, I was
just gonna say it's good, especially for like older people who do want marijuana or marijuana products for medical issues to help with certain health issues they have. So at least they're going there. They're going there, and it's 100% sure they're getting the product they need that's going to tackle those issues that they're looking to tackle.
So let's just go with our understanding of how history works and all that kind of stuff. Do you guys think that the government made it worse in the long run when it came?
I think what the American government, sorry to cut you, I think what the American government did, they made it seem as like it's really bad. So worse in that sense, yes, they made it, people look at it as if it's something that's equivalent to cocaine and crack, which it's not. So in that sense,
part of the issue with that too is once they realize, oh shit, that was a lie, now people feel like it's safer than it actually is to do other substances. So it's like leads to a mindset like, oh shit, well, that's all a lie, so therefore I can do as much as I want of anything and it's fine, which is not necessarily true. But if it's like they were lying about this, so why should I believe them about that?
So it also brings up the whole entire climate on how people view the government. No one really trusts the government and all that kind of shit. And these are certain reasons why, right? Because I know, Angie, for a fact, you don't trust the government.
No, not very much. I mean, what reasons do I have to try? Like, anyways, that's a whole other topic in itself. But
no. we can touch on that afterwards. I don't know, Daniel. Do you trust the government to some extent?
It depends on what you mean. Generally speaking, No, in the sense of like, is it about our best interest? Probably not necessarily, but I don't disbelieve anything because it comes from the government, though.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And Maxos, do you trust the government without thinking twice? Because you're such a goody two shoes.
I am a loyal citizen.
Yeah, there we go.
Monitored right now, and that's what I think. No, but I refuse to answer. I mean, that's one of your questions.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Okay, wait.
No,
let me explain this to Angie. Angie, one of the things that you've probably noticed, but you've never really paid attention to, is that I never answer my own questions. So you've always seen me ask questions, but I never answer them, right?
Well, I figured you're the host of this show, so you're the one who asked the questions.
No, in general, when we're together drinking or something like that, have you ever seen me answer my own questions when I ask them?
Well,
no.
I ask questions, and
yeah,
it
you
seems
ask
like
questions.
you've answered them. Yeah, I always ask questions.
Yeah, because you ask me questions, but
your questions are probably less stupid than his are.
No, yeah, definitely.
Fuck you guys.
We should have a show ripping on Darnell.
Well, I've advocated
the future.
for that.
Take notes, Darnell. Write in your little pad. Ripping on Darnell.
Hey, I am okay with that. I would love for you guys to bring it on because I could defend myself,
but that's the reason you have your rule that you don't answer your own questions, because like now you feel free to ask the dumbest questions you can think of. You'll never have to answer.
I would also say that there's a difference between being able to defend yourself and being able to take it.
Oh, like, I can take everything. Please, guys, you don't understand.
I know, Darnell has no soul. Well. You could say anything to him, and he just doesn't give a shit.
He's a shell.
He's not offended. I'm not jealous. I don't give a fuck about this. I don't give a fuck about that.
And I, for one, appreciate that about him.
But he's a soulless motherfucker.
I appreciate the soullessness of him. Yeah.